Now, Hannah Natanson is a reporter who works for the Washington Post. She stopped reporting news stories in January and became the story after the FBI raided her house. What's going on? In my view, she's at risk, as in Don Lemon-style risk. Now, the government hasn't moved on her case as a criminal defendant yet. Maybe the government won't move on her case until after the feds identify additional reporters who accessed classified intelligence, probably regarding the Venezuela drug boat strikes. Now, that's my speculation about the subject matter of the classified material that was breached and about the folks who are at risk of criminal prosecution. Now, the leaker at the Pentagon has been indicted already. Aurelio Perez-Lugones, a former Navy service member and current government contractor who accessed classified materials repeatedly and fed the information to Hannah Natanson and other journalists. Just astounding. A case regarding the search warrant for the raid on Hannah Natanson's residence was closed in February. Now, the docket report says the case is closed, but that can happen with cases involving just a search warrant and no criminal prosecution yet. Now, the DOJ and Washington Post met their deadlines to file briefs regarding the FBI raid. The magistrate judge scheduled a hearing for February 20th. That's this Friday. Now, if that hearing goes forward, the case is very much on. And if the hearing doesn't take place, maybe she's cooperating with the feds now. We don't know. It seems possible that her employer, the Washington Post, decided to quit breathing down the neck of the FBI and DOJ because the Post now realizes that its reporter and maybe additional reporters in the Post newsroom are at risk of criminal prosecution for using classified intelligence stolen from the federal government. Now, there was a flurry of news reporting about the raid on Hannah Natanson's residence in mid-January. At the time, the Washington Post did convince a judge to issue a standstill order, which prohibits the feds from accessing the materials they took from her residence. 2 laptops, an iPhone, a portable hard drive, a voice recorder, and a Garmin watch that she uses for running. So the watch might have her GPS locations. Her whereabouts could be used to establish circumstantial evidence of what she did and where. For her communications related to work, she uses the Signal chat messaging app, which deletes messages automatically, and apparently that's how she communicates regularly with her sources. On auto-delete, that is to say, which seems extreme for a civilian. Now, in a declaration filed with the court by Hannah Natanson, she says that the Post disclosed in December that Hannah Natanson's reporting about President Trump's transformation of the government had brought her over 1,100 new sources, including federal employees from more than 120 agencies, including every cabinet-level agency. The standstill order prevents the federal government from examining her devices from the raid. Now, despite the standstill order, which I observe can be reversed at any time, if the information she was provided by her sources is stamped as classified or secret, it wouldn't be great for Hannah Natanson or for any other journalist in possession of the information. Potential crimes they could be charged with include the Espionage Act, unauthorized disclosure, and theft of government property. Now, the journalist could be charged with conspiracy or aiding and abetting, the very crimes for which Don Lemon was indicted. Now, as I mentioned, the Washington Post got a standstill order from the judge, but investigations are ongoing because the feds don't stop being feds. Now, at some point, in my view, and I'm not making predictions, but if I had to predict, journalists, including but not limited to Hannah Natanson, may file motions to suppress evidence. They'll say the evidence was seized illegally. They'll say the evidence being used against them has nothing to do with the indictment of Aurelio Perez-Lugones, and therefore the feds acted beyond the scope of the warrant. Well, the journalists would be getting ahead of themselves. The feds have already said they were looking for evidence related to the Perez-Lugones case, which in all probability involves the Venezuela drug boat strikes. And it's probable that that information is all over Hannah Natanson's devices. Now, the Washington Post is saying publicly that this is an assault on freedom of the press. Now, the Post claims that the DOJ is seeking information regarding all of Hannah Natanson's sources and stories that she was working on, but in my view, The DOJ doesn't need information on other stories she might have been working on to get convictions for the conspiracy as to the case at hand. Now, the current leaker, Aurelio Perez-Lugones, is in jail pending trial. His public defender has filed a motion seeking his release until the time of trial, maybe with ankle monitoring, etc. But a lot can happen before he goes to trial. He might start talking. He might strike a plea deal. Testimony about potential co-conspirators in exchange for a reduced sentence.
Who's locked up? Who's being detained? How are you feeling? How's he doing?
We have no comment. Sorry. Excuse us.
Now, the press is trying to spin up the story as a government fishing expedition into the contents of Hannah Natanson's devices, but the government doesn't even need all of that information on her devices. They have the leaker sitting in jail, and apparently his vocal cords still work. Now, despite losing access to a chat messaging app, he can talk to his public defender, and the public defender can talk to the prosecutor. And when those statements become available, the government may have grounds to lift the standstill order. And then there could be additional indictments. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, leave a like and don't forget to subscribe.